Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I thought I will tell you about all the books that I read in April. April, right? Yeah, April. So I read quite a lot of books in April, honestly. It's kind of... So I read, I think, 13 books this month. It's quite a lot for me because I don't usually read so many books in a month, but I don't know what happened. I just couldn't put any book down and I was reading a lot, and that's great because I have a lot of books to talk about now. I keep it short for every book because we have 13 books to talk about. So yeah, let's get started. So the first book I read in April is Fairy Tale by Stephen King. This is his latest release, Stephen King's latest release, and there have been a lot of mixed reviews for this book. People who enjoy Stephen King a lot, read a lot of Stephen King, they did not like this book because yeah, it was not his best book, but there are a lot of people who really enjoyed this book as well because at the end it is a good book, you know, and I am on the enjoying end of the spectrum. I really enjoyed this book. I'll tell you what happens in this. So basically there is a boy named Charlie Reed, and he has kind of like a tumultuous, you know, childhood. And when he grows up and is like in high school, he ends up taking care of the grumpy man down the road. His name is, I think, Howard Bowditch. Okay, so he's like, you know, that grumpy old man who lives and children are scared of, and he has a dog who's very scary and everyone's scared of them. He won't let anyone enter his house, and his house looks like a haunted house basically. So he's that kind of person, and some stuff happens and Charlie ends up having to take care of him, of Mr. Bowditch and his dog, and he ends up falling in love with the dog. He ends up having a good relationship with Mr. Bowditch. So that's like the first 1/3 of the book. Then later he realizes that there's a shed in Mr. Bowditch's house, which is like a gateway to a new world, a completely different reality, a completely different world. And some things again happen. I'm not going to tell you so much because I don't want to give you a spoiler. What I'm telling you is basically all written here in the blurb, right? So then some things happen and Charlie kind of has to go to that new world to sort of do a mission in order to save the dog that he's fallen completely in love with, because Mr. Bowditch cannot, because he's physically not, you know, well and everything. So he goes there, he goes to the new world, and that new world is like, something's wrong over there. Like there's some sort of evil that's on this new world, and a lot of things happening there that he sort of has to, you know, get to know and solve in order to do what he's there to do. That's the second half of the book. And then the third part, that's like a completely different plot, right? So the thing that I loved about this book was it had 3 different books in it. It was like we were watching a series of like 3 seasons. It was that, like, it was so elaborate. Every single plot was so elaborate, but it literally felt like I was reading 3 different books. I was watching 3 different series. So I really enjoyed that. I gave this, I think, a 4.5 stars. It wasn't a 5 stars because, like I said, it had like 3 different stories. So there were points where I was like, you know, we can skip this. This can be skipped, and so that we can come to the main plot. Other than that, this book was really enjoying. I really enjoyed this book, and I just didn't want to put this book down. Like, it's a very thick book. It's, I think, 800 pages. Oh no, wait, it's 600 pages, but like it's very, like, the text is small, the pages are huge, so it felt like 800 pages, and I still flew through it, I think, in 3 to 4 days maximum. It was that good. So yeah, Stephen King, Fairy Tale. There are much better books by Stephen King, but doesn't mean that this one's not good. So yeah, that's that. Then the next 2 books I read in tandem. So if you don't know what that means, it's basically reading 2 books at the same time, where you're like first 5 chapters of the first book and then 6 to 7 chapters of the second book, and you keep going back and forth between the chapters. So that is how these books have to be read. So this is Empire Storms and Tower of Dawn by Sarah J Maas. They are, I think, the 6th and 7th book in the Throne of Glass series. Yes, 6th and 7th book in the 6th and 7th book Throne of Glass series, and it was fun reading them in tandem, honestly. Talking about popular opinions, so a lot of people who tandem read these books, they say that this book, Empire of Storms, is amazing, 5 stars, action-packed, beautiful, and then Tower of Dawn is like just torture, boring, and just like completely slow-paced. I disagree with those people. I'm one of those persons who enjoyed both of these books. Yes, this is fast paced. Yes, this has a lot of things happening, and this does not have a lot of things happening, but I still definitely enjoyed this as well. You know, when there's like a war sort of thing happening, there are the action packed war scenes, and then there are the the scenes in the plots where we're getting information. The readers are getting information about, the place, what secrets are there that have to be disclosed or whatever, informational stuff, informational plot. That's what Tower of Dawn was. So I am a sucker for information, honestly. So I enjoy Tower of Dawn as well. As for being slow paced, I mean, what do you expect? This book has 6 POVs of characters that we have known throughout the 6 books in a continent that we have known for the past 6 books. So obviously it's going to be fast paced. It's going to be this happens, this happens, this happens, and this happens. And I'm not saying it wasn't good. It was amazing. I loved it. Definitely 5 stars. But Tower of Dawn has like 4 or 5 new characters in a completely new continent. So obviously it's not going to be as fast paced. It has just 2 POVs as well. That's why it's slow paced, but I really enjoyed it. We got a lot of information. Like, there was a part in this book and I was like, no, that's happening? Shit. Like that. So I really enjoyed this as well. I'm not going to give it a 5 stars, yeah, because at the end it's not better than Empire of Storms, but it's not bad as well. Right? So Tower of Dawn. Empire of Storms, it was just amazing. It was just amazing. I can't tell you more about these books because, like I said, it's a 6th and 7th book in the series, so it's kind of be spoiling the entire thing. But I can tell you one thing: at the end of Queen of Shadows, I think, yeah, Queen of Shadows, the characters have to kind of split up to work in 2 different continents in order to prepare for the war that's coming up. So this is the northern continent with the 6 main characters, I think. I don't know the number, and this is the southern continent with 2 characters have to go to the southern continent in order to do something. That's all I can say. But I really enjoyed these. I have Kingdom of Ash next, but that's a 1,000-page mammoth of a book, so I'm not going to be reading that anytime soon, honestly. So yeah, these are the 2 books. Anyways, then sort of continuing my fantasy era, I read Chain of Fire and Cassandra Clare. This is the 2nd book in the Last Hour series. The first book was Chain of Gold. If you don't know what the Last Hour series is, it's how to explain it? It's basically a story that follows the children of the characters in the Infernal Devices. If you don't know what's Infernal Devices, then I'm not going to explain it too much because it's going to be a very long video then. So basically Chain of Gold was following the kids of the Infernal Devices, right? And a lot of things happen in that book that continue on in this book. And they're mostly romance plots that are being continued in this book. As for the actual fantasy plot, what happens is, so they're in, I think, London, right? So yeah, these are the people in the London Institute. So we were talking about like the London in like I think 1900s or something, right? So the 20th century, I'm not sure, but something like that. It's back then, not now, right? Shadow hunters are ending up dead. There's sort of like a serial killer who's out for shadow hunters, and the children in this book, the main characters in this book, sort of have to solve that issue. So it's like murder mystery, fantasy murder mystery, plus a hell lot of romance in it as well. Like, oh, romance, like Infernal Devices type romance, and I really enjoyed that. The end of this book for the romance aspect was kind of like a cliffhanger, so I really want to read Chain of Thorns and see what happens. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was my favorite Cassandra Clare book. Neither was it, I think, my favorite. Yeah, it was my favorite Cassandra Clare book, but it was really good. It was enjoying. What am I saying enjoying? I enjoyed reading this book. I would definitely recommend Last Hours if you've read Infernal Devices, because you get the characters of Infernal Devices in this, and it kind of just makes your heart happy. Then after this, I went on a Kindle binge because I realized that I can get a Kindle Unlimited subscription for 1 month in like a very small amount. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna note down all the books that I want to read on my Kindle. I'm gonna get the Kindle Unlimited subscription and I'm gonna read all those. So I read quite a lot. I'm not going to tell you what order I read them because some of them are series. I'm just going to tackle the series that I read, right? Okay, so first I read the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. It's a 6-book series, but I read the first 4 books. I'm not going to give too much detail about the series because I have a reading blog up on my channel already where I've given a detailed description of what the series is about. And I've read the 4th book in that series, in that reading blog as well. So I'm not going to give you too much information, but I'll tell you how I felt about this book. So the first book, Brutal Prince, it was a classic enemies to lovers, mafia romance. I really enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but it was good. It was a good, fun book, right? Then next book was Stolen Air. This was my absolute favorite book. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and the enemies to lovers aspect in this was so good because it's Beauty and the Beast, right? So the guy, the main character, he has kidnapped the girl, right? And they have every reasons to hate each other. All reasons are completely acceptable for them to be hating each other. You know, a good enemies to lovers is good when there's like a good reason for them to be hating on each other, and that's what was happening in this book. They had very valid reasons to hate each other, and that's what made enemies to lovers so much more prominent, so much more better. Loved the spice, loved everything in this book. It was really, really good. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. Amazing. Then next was Savage Lover, I think. I did not like this book because this was kind of like a Fast and Furious, not even enemies to lovers, just Fast and Furious romance. And I just don't think a Fast and Furious plot can be enjoyed through a book. I think you need to see the cars, you can hear the cars racing in order to enjoy it. So I did not like it too much. The romance also, it was not enemies to lovers, which is what it's marketed as. I didn't really see the enemies aspect. It was just that I met you, I don't really like you that much, but 2 days later I like you, right? So I did not enjoy this book. It kind of put me in a slump as well. Then next I read Bloody Heart. Again, I'm not gonna tell you too much because that's the book I read in my reading vlog, so you guys can go and watch that on my channel. Next up, I read the Eden series by Devney Perry. Again, not gonna tell you much about it because it's part of the same reading vlog. But overall, I loved both the books. Both of them were 4.5 stars for me. Oh yeah, I read only the first 2 books in the Eden series, Indigo Ridge and Juniper Hill. Yeah, I'm not gonna tell you too much about them. It's already covered in the reading vlog. Go watch the reading vlog if you wanna know about that. Okay, 4.5 stars to both. Then I read The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, as well as The Housemaid's Secret, which is like the sequel to it. So the first one, about the first one, The Housemaid. This was very, very good. I think I gave it a 5 stars, probably because I haven't read a good thriller in so long, which is probably why I gave it a 5 stars, but it was definitely very, very good. So the basic plot is that there is a girl. She is sort of, you know, in prison for 10 years. She's just gotten out of prison. She can't find a job. She starts working as a maid, but it's very difficult for her to find a job, right? She's living out of a car. And then she goes to the job interview where it's like really posh house, really posh, you know, a lady, and she hires She hires her. So she's kind of like, I can't really do anything but to accept this offer because I need this offer. I need the money. I need the job. So she goes and she takes the job, but everything is just, it's very skeptical, right? The lady, the actual woman of the house is just kind of like a, you know, she's doing crazy things. She says one thing that, oh, go pick up my daughter from this place, and then she goes to pick up the daughter, and then the teacher or the friend is like, but she's supposed to come with me on Wednesday. She comes with me. Her mother knows this. She would have told you this. Why are you here? And then when she would call her again, she would be like, you're not supposed to pick her up. Like, just kind of like crazy, and it's very, very weird, like dangerous kind of crazy, right? And the worst part is, so she's like a live-in maid, right? So she's given the room in the attic, and the room locks from the outside, not the inside. That's like a major red flag. Just get out of there. But she needs the job, she needs the money, so she sticks around, and then shit goes down. And I really enjoyed this book. It had a lot of plot twists, which is why it was very, very good. The second book, Housemaid's Secret, is kind of similar, same character. She ends up working in a different household where the guy sort of is locking his wife in a room, and I think is physically abusing her, like, you know, beating her up and everything. So she helps her sort of run away, but then things go wrong. Obviously things will go wrong. It's a thriller book, right? So in this Housemaid's Secret, there were not a lot of plot twists as such, but the plot was very good. Like, it was a very good story. There were not a lot of plot twists. It was a very plausible, sort of interesting story. So I really enjoyed it as well. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. I don't know why I gave it 5 stars, but that's what I gave it, right? Then I was kind of sick of my Kindle. I wanted to read a physical book, so I picked up Shatter Me by Tahereh Mafi. This is a very popular dystopian fantasy book talk book. So I was like, I have to pick it up. So I got the first book, I bought it, I read it. I'm not a fan of it. It was okay. First half of the book was like, yeah, okay. Second half got a bit more interesting because there were a lot more of like action packed. But I feel like the ending was so abrupt. It could have been like 100 200 pages more. But I'm not giving up in the series yet because I've heard people say that the second and the third book are the main reasons why they read this series. It's much better. So I'm gonna listen to those people and I'm going to read the other two books, second, third book as well, and then I'm going to give a judgment of whether I like the series or not. As the first book, it was just a normal, sort of felt like Hunger Games kind of book. It felt like the first half of Hunger Games, not even the entire book, just the first half, without any actual interesting thing happening. But I can see how it'll get better over time. It's a very interesting plot. I didn't tell you what it's about. I don't think I have to tell you because it's Shatter Me. Everyone knows what it's about, but I'll still tell you. It's a dystopian world, right? So the world is like completely destroyed, and we have this government called the Re-establishment who sort of taken over, and it's very bad and cruel and corrupt, sort of. And then we have Juliet, who sort of has like a gift kind of power where if she touches another human being, that person dies. Right? It says it on the book. No, my touch is lethal, my touch is power, right? So it's her power where when she touches someone, that person dies. So she is locked up in the Re-establishment's psych ward, I think, and then things happen from there. I don't want to tell you too much because I think that much is information enough. But yeah, if you're in mood for a dystopian book and you want to have like an easy small read, you can definitely pick up Shatter Me. It was not my favorite. Telling you, don't hold me up to that I recommended this book and you didn't enjoy it. I don't know. Let me read the second, third book first and then I'll tell you whether it's good or not. Right? So that's it. That was my April wrap up. I read 13 books, but I only have the physical copy for these 5. So I'm gonna hold up while I give my outro. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys want to read any of the books that I mentioned over here, or if you've read any of them, please let me know in the comments below because it'll be interesting, to hear your thoughts about the books that I've reviewed in this book or just reviewed in this video, or just like talked about in this video, right? So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.